has been the material envelope of our Master. To Thee our infinite gratitude. Before Thee, who has done so much for us, who has worked, struggled, suffered, hoped, endured so much. Before Thee, who has willed all, attempted all, prepared, achieved all for us. Before Thee, we bow down and implore that we may never forget, even for a moment, all we owe to Thee. Words of our Divine Mother from the Collective Works Volume 7, topic Irresistible Attraction for the Divine, page 394. Our Divine Mother says there are people in whom the psychic moment, the emotional impulse is stronger than intellectual understanding. They feel an irresistible attraction for the divine without knowing, without having the slightest idea of what it is, of what it can be, what it represents. Nothing, no intellectual notion, but a kind of impulse, attraction, a need, an inevitable need. And these people who have that, if I may say, as a result of the grace, they have a mind which does not trouble them, does not question, does not discuss, go very fast. And then, what is quite miraculous according to the ordinary idea is that as soon as they reach the degree of consecration which identifies them through the psychic being with the divine presence, suddenly they become endowed with capacities of expression absolutely unknown to their nature. Next topic, two powerful levers. From the same volume, page 418. Our Divine Mother says there are two principal things. This, the capacity of enthusiasm, which makes one come out of his greater or lesser inertia in order to throw himself more or less totally into the thing which rouses him. As for instance, the artist for his art, the scientist for his science, and in general every person who creates or builds has an opening, the opening of a special faculty, a special possibility, creating an enthusiasm in him. When this is active, something in the being awakens, and there is a participation of almost the whole being in the thing done. There is this. And then there are those who have an innate faculty of gratitude, those who have an ardent need to respond with warmth, devotion, joy to something which they feel like a marvel hidden behind the whole of life, behind the tiniest little element, the least little event of life, who feel this sovereign beauty or infinite grace which is behind all things. I knew people who had no knowledge, so as to say, of anything, who were hardly educated, whose minds were altogether of the ordinary kind, who had in them this capacity of gratitude, of warmth which gives itself, understands, and is thankful. Well, for them, the contact with the psychic was very frequent, almost contact, almost constant, and to the extent that they were capable of it, conscious, not very conscious, but a little, in the sense that they felt they were carried, helped, uplifted above themselves. These two things, says our Divine Mother, these two things prepare people in the most. They are born with one or the other, and if they take the trouble, it develops gradually, it increases. We say the capacity for enthusiasm, something which throws you out of your miserable and mean little ego, the generous gratitude, the generosity of the gratitude which also flings itself to the thanksgiving out of the little ego. These are the two most powerful levers to enter into contact with the divine in one's psychic being. This serves as a link with the psychic being, the surest link. Next topic from volume 16 of our collective works of our Divine Mother, page 222, topic Essential Conditions for the Psychic Growth. Our Divine Mother says, in order to strengthen the contact and aid, if possible, the development of the conscious psychic personality, one should, while concentrating, turn towards it, aspire to know it and feel it, open oneself to receive its influence, and take great care each time that one receives an indication from it to follow it very scrupulously and sincerely. Our Divine Mother says to live in a great aspiration, to take care to become inwardly calm and remain so always as far as possible, to cultivate a perfect sincerity in all the activities of one's being. These are the essential conditions for the growth of the psychic being. Next topic, use the intelligent will. Our Divine Mother says the psychic being is progressive and immortal. All the methods of self-knowledge, self-control, self-mastery are good. You have to choose the one that comes to you spontaneously and best corresponds to your nature. And once having chosen the method, you must use your intelligent will to apply it with an unfailing perseverance that does not shrink from any obstacle, any difficulty. It is a long and minute work which must be undertaken with sincerity and continued with an increasing sincerity, ever more scrupulous and integral. The easy paths generally leads nowhere, says our Mother in the Collective Works, volume 16, page 246. Next, from the Collective Works of our Lord Sri Aurobindo, volume 30, topic Psychic Being, subtopic Two Main Foundations of the Sadhana. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says there are two main things to be secured as the foundations of the sadhana: the opening of the psychic being and the realization of the self above. For the opening of the psychic being, concentration on the mother and self-offering to her are the direct way. The glow of bhakti which you feel is the first sign of the psychic development. A sense of the mother's presence or force, or the remembrance of her supporting and strengthening you, is the next sign. Eventually, the soul within begins to be active in aspiration and psychic perception, guiding the mind to the right thoughts, the vital to the right moments and feelings, showing and rejecting all that has to be put away and turning the whole being in all its movements to the divine alone. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, for the self-realization, peace and silence of the mind are the first condition. Afterwards, one begins to feel, realize freedom, wideness, to live in a consciousness, silent, tranquil, untouched by any or all things, existing everywhere and in all, one with or united with the divine. Other experiences come on the way or may come, such as the opening of the inner vision, the sense of the force working within, and various moments and phenomena of the working. One may also be conscious of a sense of the consciousness and the sense of the force, bliss, or light from above, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Next topic, sincere self giving. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, if desire is rejected and no longer governs the thought, feeling, or action, then there is a steady aspiration of an entirely sincere self giving. The psychic visually, after a time, opens of itself. There is no approved method of bringing forward the psychic being. It depends on the aspiration, the growth of faith and devotion, the diminution of the hold of the mental and vital ego and their moments. At a certain point in this development, the screen between the psychic and the rest of the nature thins and begins to break. The psychic becomes more and more visible and active and finally takes over the charge. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, then only can the psychic being fully open when the sadhaka got rid of the mixture of the vital motives with his sadhana and is capable of a simple, sincere self offering to the Mother. If there is any kind of egoistic turn or insensitive motive, if the yoga is done under the pressure of vital demands or partially or wholly to satisfy some spiritual or other ambitions, pride, vanity, or seeking after power, position, or influence over others, or with any push towards satisfying any vital desire with the help of the yogic force, then the psychic cannot open, or opens only partially or only at times and shuts again because it is veiled by the vital activities. The psychic fire falls in the strangling vital smoke. Also, if the mind takes the leading part in the yoga, puts the inner soul into the background, or if bhakti or other moments of the sadhana take more of a vital than of a psychic form, there is the same inability. Purity, simple sincerity, and the capacity of an unegoistic, unmixed self offering without pretension or demand are the conditions of an entire opening of the psychic being, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo, page 349.